Hey guys, Sam with you here. What are we, mid-morning on a Tuesday, April 10th. And per the voting that we do every day, one of our winners today was Ethereum to the US dollar. The request was to review it on Bitfinex, so you can see I have it up here. So this is the Ethereum to the dollar. This is the daily chart. And it's a really good example of why you don't want to forget to check the daily. Just to get, particularly when you've had a long sustained trend like this, we want to get some perspective on where we are as we go all the way out to the daily time frame. So there are a couple of things that are real, obviously just stand out here. So we can see here we're coming all the way back to this prior support here. So just, if nothing else, other than some structural support of prior resistance coming in to offer some support here. So we see that. That's just first glance. We can look at that. But of course, we'd want to check some of the relationships on the way down. So from an Elliot perspective, likely we completed something here. This is a very deep correction. So if I pull here, I have wicked off the absolute lowest low. And this can be something that's helpful if you don't know this. You can go to log scale and you can get a better look at it as you'll get the separation here. So I've just wicked off the absolute lowest low. And it gives you kind of a look at where we might be. You can see here now again, this is a good example here where we have prior resistance. Get right on there. This prior resistance here. So potentially, we're coming right into where you'd expect to see some support kick in. If we wicked off all of these, we're right in that pocket. So, but I'm going to go out of log scale now that we have those wicked off. So you can make the case that we have a completed five-wave structure up to this high, right? And you can see, here was the reaction. Here was the front run on the 618. We got a reaction, but ultimately we roll through it. Now we're not yet quite to the 786, which is interesting. Here we have a lot of volume there. So as you can see here, that would be what you might expect here. This is the point of control where we have the largest amount of volume at that price given the entire history here of the move. So coming back to that level, just because it's there doesn't mean we need to get down there. So we want to kind of dig in here and say, well, do we have anything additionally to offer us some potential support down here? Do we get technical down here? In other words, why is it stopping here? Other than, well, potentially we have this prior resistance offering the support. What else can we find here? Well, we know if this is going to trade as a 1-2 from an Elliot perspective. I mean, that's a deep 2, but certainly well within the boundaries of a second wave. So I'm going to take this off just to declutter the chart. We know that's down here. We know that 786 is sitting right here on this point of control. So let's look in here. So this is just for first thing we do. So you look here and say, is that A, B, C? Well, then an X, no, wouldn't work. So likely you've got more complexity here. So you get an A, B, C into an A wave. Then we get the 3-wave B. So I'd be inclined just at first glance, right? Just, easiest, most simple, what's staring you in the face. That seems pretty reasonable here. So what would you do, right? If you're looking at that thinking ABC, well, I'd want to look for a relationship between the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. So first thing I'm going to do is just the easy one. I'm just going to grab the length of the A wave. And what do we get? Coincidence? You tell me what you think. So here's the front run on the 50, right? Classic algo move here. They front run the 50, and then we go right to target. We get it to the tick. So, this is what they do, right? So that's their move. So the sell is here at 973. They're taking profit under at called 360. 973 to 360. All right. So you can see that's just classic algo. And if you don't know that that's there, you're wondering, why are they stopping? Is it because of this? Well, you could have made the same case here at this pivot. This pivot, is it this pivot? Is this significant somehow? Or is there something else going on down here? All right, now what kind of reaction did we get? We haven't had much, but we've gone from 360 to 406. It's not insignificant, completely insignificant, but so we can look in that, say, okay, well, what else? So certainly that's about as strong as indication as I need to see there. Now, I'd like to see a bigger reaction coming out of there, but that's so we get confluence here. We get structural resistance offering support, and we get a perfect to the tick algo target. So does that mean, load up here? Not necessarily, but it certainly means heads up. All right, we have a potential setup here because this target has been realized. So there's a reasonable expectation to start to look for this potentially to start a new trend. We've completed a correction. We've come to a technical pivot. We've got structural support. All of the ingredients are there. So how do we confirm? Well, we need to come out of the hole here. We need to come out with a motive wave. So whether it's a diagonal or an impulse wave, we need to come out of that in 5. Well, we may not see that on the daily chart. So let's go down. This guy typically will go from the daily to the 4-hour. You can see here. So what we're looking at here is now what can we add any additional confluence to this pivot level down here? So we see we have high volume down here. So potentially what you have happening is accumulation. So we can look, if this is our low down here for a C wave, our expectation would be to find coming off of this B for this to be completing in 5 ways, right? So this is about as straightforward and simple as you can make an analysis here. So that likely 3, 4, and is the 5 here? Are we just double bottoming here as we go sideways? Hard to call it, yeah. So whether it's here or here. If nothing else, so if we looked here as to where it starts to move away from this pivot, we might look at it that way. So do I have all of the ingredients here? Well, I might start measuring just to check it. Is this a likely target for a 3? Well, if I pull this over here, I'm kind of in between. Here was the sweet spot here. Here's the 1618, 175. We get a little reaction, but we've got this kicker on it here. So, we don't quite make the 261. There's the 200. Kind of an in-between there. So I don't love that, but given that this is the deepest retracement here, if we think deep coming off of the low, this is the highest retracement, maybe I say it. So this is high likely contender for my 4th, so I might project down here looking for the length of my 1, looking for those relationships that are often there in Elliot count, looking for a relationship between the 1 wave projected from the 4 to the 5. Well, I've got, kind of a confluence zone established down here. Here's my 100. Here's my algo target. So I get this nice pocket here, and we can see what's happening. We're just kind of moving sideways, having gone into that hot box. Just moving sideways, and perhaps now starting to come out of it. First little attempts to come out of it. Now, what we need to see is the market move and sustain and hold outside of this hot box, as I call them, right? So we have this confluence zone. So let's go from there. Anything else I can see here? Well, I'd want to check the 2 to the 3. So we get. I'm going to pull this one off so we can see it a little better. So here's the 23 to the 38, right where you'd expect the 4. And then take note here, we get confluence. So look here. So if I wiggle it, so from that 3, do you see that algo target down there? So we get this, confluence, so it's really tight right here. And where are we hitting? So we've got 2 algo targets, just literally damn near on top of each other here, suggesting a target. Doesn't mean that it must be a low, but a target has been achieved on multiple time frames. So can we come out of this with a motive wave? Well, let's go down to the 1 hour and see if there's any evidence here that we're starting to move with some veracity here to give us a potential move. Well, again, so here we are. So then I can clear some of this out. Here was our, potentially, is that a 1? It's a contender. I don't know that it's complete. So if I open this up, I could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just a quick look at this would suggest that we've come at least to the 618. If I can get it right on there. Okay, there we go. So what do we get? So we go right into the golden zone. And so, yeah, I don't know how many times I've shown it to you, but so we get the reaction, we come right into the golden zone, and now we're bouncing off of that. Now, that does not look like you've done a 3, pardon me, it does not look like we've done a 1, 2. This looks more to me like it looks diagonal because this is more characteristic of a 4th. So it looks to me like there's one more push up here, which would get us to this target here, which potentially sets us up you know, if we get there as a completed one wave. So if you're ultra aggressive, you could be a buyer right here. There's no doubt about it. If that's going to play as our one, we'd look for the next 2, 3, 4, 5. That's more confirmation. Can I get a technical pivot here? Given my swing low, swing high, I'll go buy here. No question about it. They buy it. That does not happen randomly. So they buy it. We're moving away. So we have a target. So we have a candidate here. Nothing more than a candidate for a one wave, to suggest that if we come out of here, no, it's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, and it's a little bit of a struggle to get a clean count on that. But I would defer to the swing, to the swing low, swing high, to the golden zone, moving away from that, and then the characteristic of this. If this were a 1-2, this is not what we'd expect here. I'm on a 60-minute. That's not the reaction we'd expect coming out of a 2. So I'm inclined to think there's one more push up here. So because we're trying to pick a low, I mean, to some degree here, so from 360, I mean, we've moved what, $70 off of the algo target here as we came into the hot box. You know, I mean, I don't like this as a 1-2. It's too deep. I would defer to this. I'd be looking. So if you want to be conservative, wait for this to come up here and approach that algo target as a better vehicle for the next pivot retracement. So if we pivot up here, and again, I'm just hypothetical. If we come to that algo target, then the next buy would be right down here between the 50 and the 618, right? So that's just pretty standard operating. If you follow me, you know that's something that I'm going to look at, watch, alarm, and going to buy it. That's just a must take. Now we're not there yet, right? So again, I'm hypothetical. So we don't know for sure that we get there, but here's the buy, here's the target. I'd like to see that that would give me more confidence in the next retracement for that buy setup. Because if we come back out, right? So let's go back to our 4 hour. Looking at that right now, you start to put that in context. That looks like a rather small move coming out on a larger degree. So we're not, I'm not jumping up and down to say the low is in. I'd rather get more confirmation. Let me see if I can open this up a little so we can see it better. Right. So now you put it in that context. So there it is. There's the 4 hour. So yeah, that's a good sign. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. So thus, when in doubt, you wait for confirmation. There's no need to rush to buy that. If you didn't buy, so here, yeah, that's a must take, right? That's a must take because you've got this down here. Now here, it's still shaping. We're still in that, show it, prove it to me. Can I get one more kick up here and then a pivot? And again, it doesn't have to stop at the first algo target. It could certainly go higher than that. But if you want to be more conservative, I'd wait for that confirmation, and then I'd take this trade. You want to be aggressive? Well, hell, buy it right now. But knowing, though, fully understanding that you're going to anticipate that there will be a retrace. For the people that bought it here, get here, they're going to be algos going to take profit there. On that retrace, as they take profit here, it sets up the opportunity to catch the third. Now we break this pattern. Now we have a higher low and a higher high. So this pattern starts to erode here in this lower. So we come here, lower high, lower low, double top. But you could look into that and say, okay, well, I can see coming down. I've got everything I'd look for. Is this likely? That's 3. That's your 4, and it's not the prettiest fifth. I don't love it, right? But it's there, and then we get this confluence zone here. So that's the reason to be a buyer there. Oh, this could be, that looks like you've got your 3-way. So that looks like that's 3. So come within the third. So we've got 1, 2, 3 ABC into the 4. That gives us the 5 waves in our third. Here's our 3-wave 4. So again, that's the idea. This is why there's some hesitation here, because we can't confirm that we have a 5 yet, because potentially this could be our 4 before we head down again. We could have an ABC going in here, which is why I'd want to wait for this to confirm. Show your hand. Are you strong enough to come out of here in 5, or are we just setting up to roll over yet again? Because if this is the 4, we still can come back down here to these targets. That would give us a better 5. Anyway, shit, we could go below it, right? So nothing says we have to stop down here. So I want to see that confirmation. You know, I like the double bottom. I don't love this as my 5th. Is it there? Probably. You know, I might have to go down to a 30-minute. It's out of curiosity since we're here doing it. Let's just have a look. So coming down here into this 5th, yeah, it's probably there. So if I, at the 30-minute, can I get 5 out of that? Do I have a diagonal? So if I look at it here, no, not a diagonal. So it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We come down into the 5th. 1, 2, yeah, it's not great. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, but it's, you know, you might have a diagonal finishing up here. Do we overlap? Nope, we don't. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't love it. You might have this here, right? So now we'd come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 5 here. So we get A, B, C into an A, B, C. Let's check this. Yes, again, since I'm here, might as well just check it. So if this is my 2 up here, and I go to that, here's the 50. Look how it does. So Vegas wave is designed for the 60-minute, but it can be just as good in the 30. Into the Vegas wave. And when I say into the Vegas wave, it's literally in the split between the 144 and the 169. Look at that. Tag, tag, and we drop down for what looks like could be the final push. So now on this scale, see, here's, you know, you got to keep perspective in mind. So now as we look at this, I mean, this looks like a pretty good move. I still want to see one more run up here. Yeah, that looks much, I mean, it could be a 2, right? So it's indecision. So that's why I want that confirmation. So you look at the depth of this, that would imply that it's a 2, but this is not the reaction coming off of a 2. So it's just not, it doesn't have the right symmetry here for this to be 2. So it looks like it's more likely some sort of a 3 here. This is the power move. This is much more characteristic of a 4, which is why I want to see one more push up here. Just to be sure, just to get more confidence in putting capital at risk there. So that's what I see here for Ethereum. All good signs. I mean, Ethereum at below 400. And that could be the very last. Let's hope that's the very last time that we see that. I wouldn't be surprised if that is one of the last times we see Ethereum below 400. So if you got it down here, good for you. You know, there's still plenty of opportunity. If we're going back, we look at, you know, where we've been and where we could be going. You're not missing anything by waiting a little bit here to get more confirmation. Look, I mean, just the first target here to get the 618. So if we went actually to the all the way down. All right, 618 here is at 1,000. As we sit here under 400 or right around 400, we've got a target up here of 1,000. Just in terms of where we're going to get likely resistance, well, we got to look at the all the way back. Here's the all the way halfway back, even if we get back to that. That's 885. So don't feel like you have to rush in right now. Oh God, I'm gonna miss it. There's gonna be plenty of opportunity along the way. Plenty. And this, I guess we can take that off here. So all of this here is going to be significant resistance to get through if we're starting a new trend. So no need to, you know, rush into it. Let the market show its hand, wait for the good retracement, set up the risk reward, have a target, put a stop on it, pull the trigger. All right, guys, I'll stop it there.